much, and good morning, everybody. Welcome back to our regular viewers, and a very warm welcome to our new viewers. So yes, my name's Amanda Jenkins, and I have worked for Silvalea for over 22 years now. So I have lots of knowledge on slings, their suitability, and hopefully I can help you today with the challenges of measuring, because we know sizing varies across different companies. Some slings are more generous than the other, the tailoring is different, so sizing can be a bit of an issue. So we'll hope to share some of our tips today. But we've created a poster for you, which we will ensure that you have a copy later on, but it's got some useful tips, and I will show you some other styles of things that look right, look wrong, so just to help you. But Alice, if you would kindly just bring up this poster so we can see it on screen. Sizing is, it's really important for comfort, for safety, and because there's so many styles, then, each sling will support a different way. So it is a bit of an issue, but this little guide should help. It's the top tip. So down the left-hand column, it just explains, once you've chosen the right style, then you've got to then determine the right size. So we have got very helpful information on our website that will give you sizing guides, sizing of the sling, sizing of the body. So that should help with choosing the right size. If you have to measure, naturally a soft tape measure is helpful rather than the metal ones. So, please have one of those handy. How to measure with the body in the right position is really useful, and I will show you little tips on that. If we need to do a full assessment, we have got a comprehensive form which we will follow. I'll briefly cover that later on. But if you just scroll down to the bottom section, please, there's some very good drawings. So drawings where to measure if you're measuring from a bed or a chair. And, we're just asking you to take a couple of measurements for standard situations. So we'll start with a standard scenario. And these drawings just show you roughly where we are asking for the measurement, which I will explain in more detail later on. And then there's a section on the right which shows you how to measure from the chair. The skeleton drawings, they are, sorry, Alice, just go up a bit. These are parts of the body that we would work down or around to take measurements when we're doing something a bit more custom made. If we're measuring, you've got someone that's not a standard size, it's useful to take a few more measurements for us so that we can help them determine which size of sling they should go up or down to. But we'll cover that as we go. But this is just to give you an idea of what information we can supply after the session. So hopefully that will be of use. So if we just come back. So I'm going to start by using my colleague, Laura. Laura is going to be helping me. Laura, standard size, quite petite. So looking at her, I think we will start by putting on a small sling. This is standard fast fit, and we're just going to put it on. Thank you. So we just sort of looked at somebody and sort of judged their size, and often people do that. The more you use slings, the more experience you'll have, and you'll be able to see, okay, that person looks like a small, medium, get a small or medium sling. So we're just going to put this one on. Got a nice open chair, and obviously it's going to be easy. Back down, and Laura's going to help for ease of the session. So standard sling, fast fit, general purpose shape. Comes around, across the legs, right through. We will attach to the hoist. Going to go on the yellow shoulder and long leg. So with slings, the key thing is to get it down to the base of the spine here. Don't worry about the top section because that will sort itself out as we hoist up. But, you know, get it down so we can get the leg sections around. So we just take it up slightly. I just want to check. That's attached. Okay. Right. Okay. So although Laura looks quite petite, I would say this is not a good fit. So hopefully we can see it's not giving her a lot of support. Ideally, we need this thing to come behind the leg, so it's giving more support. It's biting in here. I can see it's going to bite in there. So straight away, that isn't good. The fit round the shoulders, you know, you need to have a couple of centimetres here for comfort and support. It's quite far back here. If Laura was a bit wriggly and extended, you're going to get that shooting into her groin. It's not a great fit. So although, you know, it's supporting her back, to me, that's too skimpy. So what I would prefer to do then is double check her size against the sizing guide on the website. So let me just take this down. So for this style of sling, standard sling, we only need to take a couple of standard measurements. And they are, let me just show you. So the shoulder measurement is round the shoulders. And the important thing is that we ensure that Laura is in a nice, upright, natural position, arms in midline. You're doing it on the bed, the same thing, because if you were hunched over, we're going to get a very strange measurement. So it's going to give me a different measurement. So I've got one measurement now. If you open up, she's grown a bit. So if we take it from her hunched over, then it's going to be a smaller measurement. The sling then will be smaller. If she's fixed, fair enough. But often if you then hoist somebody, they open out and naturally then relax. So then their body position is slightly different. So it's really important to get that measurement with them in upright midline. Also, the other important measurement is you need to encompass the fullness of the arm there. So that's the fuller measurement. And not too tight. Not at the very top. So if you take it at the very top of the shoulder, it's narrower. So then again, we're going to get quite a narrow sling. So just make sure you get it, the fullness there. And if you could just stand up, please. And the length, so on this style, we're asking for the shoulders and the C7, knobbly bit behind the neck to base the spine, top of the bottom. And we just need to measure that knobbly bit down. And again, this can be done on a bed, positioned on their side. That's much more easy. However, again, if Laura was hunched over, we're going to take it a long measurement there. Then as she goes back into the sling, straight away, it's too long. So it's important to get in a sort of nice upright position. Just take a seat, please. So just let me go back to sizing guide, Alice. If you can bring up on the website, all our products will have a sizing guide, a data sheet, lots of information to help you sizing the sling. If we can bring this fast fit one. So this is how it looks on the website. If we just go down to the sizing guide, please. So this shows you then the shoulder circumference, as we said, and the C7 to base of spine measurement for this style. Styles will vary. It depends on whether they've got head support or, you know, where the actual sling fits. So this will then lead you to a size. So looking at Laura, we probably need the medium. So the medium size, she would fit comfortably within those measurements. So if I'm going to get a medium now, I'm going to put it on and just see how that fits on her. So let's just put this on. We can ensure we get a better pickup. More down, that's it. Take the leg section, so make sure the leg sections come around and fit towards the knee. It's really important they fit comfortably towards the knee. And then connect together. Just take up the slack, just to ensure we've got it on. So straight away, it's much more, it's wider, it's giving much more support to the top section. The leg sections are coming around towards her knee, so much more comfortable. So it's a better size for her. So we know now that Laura will fit into a medium. She's proportioned, so certainly the medium would be suitable for her. If you've got someone that is medium width, but they're very, very tall, then it is possible to do a medium width and a large length. So again, looking at the measurements, if you feel that they would comfortably fit into two sizes, then it's possible we can mix and match. So you just would need to tell us, just to show, hold this up and show them. So we would have a medium width here, but we need extra length here. So we would do a large length. So that's just slightly tailoring it and mix and match sizes. So that's fine if rather than having to do a full assessment. So mixing and matching the sizes is fine. Let me just check, see if there's any questions on that.
No questions so far, Mandy.
So the thing is, I guess, is if you've got one range of slings in one size that needs to fit everybody, that's where issues can arise, because they do, you know, vary. There's not one size fits all, unfortunately. So it's really important that the individual is risk assessed for suitability, sizing. The care plan then is documenting all the information, the style, the size, the positions of the hooks, of the loops for the transfer. So, you know, you've got to build that picture to establish exactly what's required for a safe transfer. So let me look at a different shape. So I've got the deluxe leg. So the deluxe leg shape is slightly different. You just hold that up. It is got a paddle. This is an in situ one, so it's in situ fabric. So slightly different. Often the slings that you can leave in have a bit more stretch. They've got elastication, so they will give. So sizing then may vary because of the stretch. So the sizing guides will reflect that. So they're not the same for all mediums or smalls. They will change. So you need to double check just to ensure that you are using the right one for the individual sling. Now, because of the stretch, I'm going to put a small on Laura, because I know it will sink into, she'll sink into it. So we'll just put the leg paddle, leg paddles wrap around the femur with this style. And if you're not familiar with the shapes, then we have got a sling, understanding sling shape session in September, I think. So, you know, have a look at the prospectus, and if we can then explain the shapes during that session. But just for today, it's all about the sizing. But the leg paddles wrap around the femur, slightly different from the previous shape, from long leg. And yellow. So we'll just again take up the slack. Make sure that fits down there. Okay. So she will then sink into it as the hoist takes up. The fabric will stretch around. Okay. So this is small, and although it's got some stretch, I don't think it's actually supporting as well as I'd like. So the leg paddle, it's important that it comes towards the back of the knee for comfort. If you just stretched out, you know, this is going to shoot back. It's not going to give full femur support as we would hope with this style. So not so comfortable. The width isn't too bad. She looks a bit squashed. Certainly the head support. If I didn't have the bones in this head support, which often they're taken out, I don't know if you push your head back, will it flip back? It could slide back, and she could. So to do that, so again, I don't know if it's. I would say it's not long enough for her. There's that, and she looks like she's something in there. So I think we've established that Laura's better in a medium. And again, with this style, we need to measure the head because the sling incorporates a head support. We need then to make sure we've measured to include the head section. So on this guide, it would be the shoulders plus the head support, which it's important again to just turn Laura. So the head support is the top of the crown of the head to the base of spine. So it's incorporating that head support. If Laura's head was forward and she's hunched over, you know, we're going to take it, or you measure right over the head. It will then, if you straighten up, it will create a sling that hoods over. So you just need to make sure it's from the crown straight down, as straight as possible to the base of spine. And that's what will, thank you, that's what will be on the sizing guide. Alice, have you got the deluxe sling sizing guide that we can show you for this style? It's from the crown to the base. You can see the measurements changed, measurement B. And again, you can do it from the bed. If you've got somebody on their side in the recovery position there, you can take that measurement from the top. So hopefully that helps. So you must really look at the styles. Just looking at another style, if Alice, can you bring up the recline, please? So this recline sling is a different shape again. So this one would mean that you would need to measure from the bed in the recovery position with the leg bent. So it's really important for this style that it goes, this one's got no head support, so it will go from C7, knobbly bit behind the neck, along the spine, around the buttock into the knee. So it's really important for that measurement, because if you measure it with a straight leg, without the fullness of the bottom, the sling won't come towards the back of the knee, it'd be too short. So we do need to encompass that bottom, and by having that measurement, you need to put them on the bed to get that. You can do it in a chair, a bit more tricky, but certainly it's better taken from the bed, that one. So you can see the sizing does vary where you measure for each style. Thanks, Alice, we'll come back to that. So the other style of sling, which is always a worry for sizing, is the toilet, the access sling. So this style here, and this, you need to get this accurate for support. So with Laura, we've established is a medium. So she fits into a medium of the full body sling, thank you. So we've got a medium toilet access sling. So we're just going to put this on. And with this one, the measurement would be around the waist support, not a chest support, So you measure around the waist here, or the mid trunk here, and then it's underarm to waist. So that's where the sling fits. So those measurements are slightly different for this style because of the design of the product. But this one has got the waist measurement. Click the left sections through. And then you just attach it. The toilet slings need to be, they need to fit well. They've got to give support. There's not a lot to them. You can see arms on the outside. So we need to really ensure that they are the right size. Okay. So we know Laura's, she's been a medium, she fits a medium of the other styles better. So we've chosen a medium toilet sling, and it looks, it fits around, it's giving good support, it's got lots of access, which is the beauty of this style. But being a medium now, if Laura was to lose tone, which can happen, okay, so actually this doesn't look right. It doesn't look to be the right size for her because it's too generous. Let's just lower you down. So with toilet access things like this, it's recommended, well, we suggest that you think about going down a size so that you can fit it really firmly. So with this one, I would definitely recommend put a small on. Just put a small on so we can see the difference. Again, we just put it round. It's got to fit around the waist, very firmly at the waist, under the bust. So make sure that we've got it in the right position. And I know often it's trial and error because, till you try something, you're not totally sure, but hopefully the information we're sharing will help you with your scenarios. So again, long got one, queen shoulder. So with this style in particular, ensure that you've got the waist support low, it's fitted firmly. As the body naturally thins out and as the waist takes up the slack, check the waistband, make sure if it's slackened off, tighten it. We've gone down a size so it's much more fitted. And if Laura was to lose some tone, she's not going anywhere. So it's really important for safety to check that you haven't got a generous size toilet sling. So let me just check. Alice, have you got any questions?
No questions so far, Mandy.
So we've looked at full body slings and we've looked at toilet access style. Thank you. Other styles that you may have to think about would be harnesses. So harnesses are slightly different. Again, on the website, there'll be helpful information on where to measure, but the extra information or extra measurements you can get would be tummy button, umbilicus, and it's to the back waist there. So that measurement there will then help you determine the actual groin straps on this. So we can see here that this measurement has been taken from there under the front. So we've got the adjustability here for the groin section. There'll also be shoulder measurements. There may be extra ones, but certainly that's where you measure for all the harnesses. to help with the right sizing there. So look at that for harnesses. Other scenarios would be amputees. So we do have a selection of amputee slings, but we would also ask that we have the stamp length. So that would be, if I can show you, generally there's two measurements we could ask for: inside leg, as in a trouser measurement, inside leg going to point of amputation, or base to spine, normally a bit at the bottom there, around the buttock to the point of amputation. So it's important with a bent leg, that's generally how you're hoisted. So we need to encompass the fullness of the bottom. If you measure straight, as I said before, the leg sections will be too short. So it's really important to go around the fullness of the bottom. So if we're looking at disproportionate body shapes, then we will help you. So if you have a plus size and they don't fit into the standard shapes, certainly then we need to then take some extra measurements. And we can help you with the assessments. We have dealers that can come out and help, but we have got a really comprehensive form, which I would just go through just quickly, because I don't want you to worry about it. There's so much information on there, but it may give you an understanding of how we then transfer that information to making up a tailor-made product. So Alice, if you can kindly bring up the tailor-made form. These forms, sorry, is there a question?
Sorry, just before I do, we've just got one question and one just thing I want to raise. So Rachel said, can I please just mention it's really beneficial and important to periodically check your soft tape measure against the metal one, as they do stretch over time. So we do that in-house, but it is a really good point. So thank you for raising, Rachel.
Yes, absolutely. So all our equipment's calibrated, it's regularly checked. But certainly if you're using your tape measures often and they are, you know, old, then double check. However, unless it's completely damaged and pulled to excess, it's not precision millimeter measurements. You know, we are not making something that is that crucial. So, you know, it is important to check, but certainly it's not going to affect things if we're half a centimetre out. You know, slings have a little bit of tolerance, but it is important. Thank you for sharing that, though. What was the other question?
The other question was, are the harness and amputee sling measurements on the poster?
So the harnesses, if you look at the harnesses on the website, the data sheets, the sizing guides will be there. So all of the slings on the website will have sizing guides and data sheets. The little poster just gives you tips of how to measure and where to measure. I don't think it explains totally with amputees, but you know, if you need that information, we can add it if that's helpful to you. Just let me check what's on that. And then it's something we can add if it's going to be of benefit. So this is just a general, this doesn't show where to measure for amputees, no. But this form will. So if I just quickly explain the form, and we do have people that are happy to fill this in. However, Alice is our assessor. She does many e-assessments and will fill this in with you, although it's virtual. So she will be able to help you, tell you where to measure, see how you're doing it, and then she'll fill the form in. So the information that we require is your information, of course, the user's name. If we're doing anything that's complex, we store them under their name. Weight is important because weight can help with understanding suitable fabrics. Some have a weight limit, our fabrics do, so it would just double check and cross-reference all the time. So scrolling down to section 1, we ask for a brief understanding of the condition. We have lots of knowledge with specific conditions that will help us with a starting style. If we have to suggest styles for you, So, you know, if it's an amputee, of course, then that's helpful. Straight away, we know we've got to think about a residual leg. So brief condition is important. And then number 2 is all about curvatures and things like that. So if we've got significant scoliosis, kyphosis, low tone, things like that, it's building a picture for us. If they've got windswept hips because they've got severe curvatures, we need to then make sure the style will support a differential in the leg positions. If they have strong extensor thrusts, again, we can help with determining the suitable style for that. Then section 3 is useful to give us an idea of the standard or the shape. Very straightforward. I'm sure it's really clear. It's self-explanatory there. Again, it's helping us to understand what shape of sling will be suitable. The hoist is very important nowadays because we have to ensure we are supplying a compatible product that is going to work with that specific hoist. So generally it's a standard hook or the stud version. So you need to just ensure that we know that, which make and model, and then we can then ensure compatibility. The next section is if they've got an existing sling, if someone has an existing style, we tend to stick to the same style if we can, if it's successful, but if it's not successful, why? So that we can then again help. But if something's working okay, maybe the size has changed, or you know they want a different fabric, but we stick to the same style if possible. We don't want to complicate things for carers, but that's just helpful there. And then section 6 is what you want the sling to do, basically. Do you need to allow for toileting? Does it need to have head support, waist support, chest support? Are there any known pressure issues so that we can then ensure we are not going to impact on that? Additions like hip tapes can be added. And then for the in situ range, we can offer different types of fixings. Then section 7 is fabrics. We have various fabrics, as you can see. If you know what you want, then fair enough. But if not, we can suggest something for you. But this is just to give you an idea of what's available and their weight limits, which is why it was important earlier on to understand the weight of that client. Section 8 is all about the position of the legs for hoisting. Hammock is together in a pickup like a seat position, divided leg. Other could be a stretcher situation where they've got to be supported completely with the full leg support outstretched. So it could be another option. 9, straightforward again. It's whether it's a standard situation, pediatric, etc. The wheelchair make it's not so important these days now, but back in the day when we first introduced a sling, a tailor-made sling, then we would always check the type of seating system to make sure we are providing the right fabric. If it's a very, very tight molded insert, we need to make sure it's not too thick. Or if it's a standard situation, we don't want to provide something that's too slippy. So that's helpful. And then the next section, please, Alice, is shapes. So as I said before, we do cover the sling shapes in our standard introduction to slings, but these are generally the standard designs that are on the market across the board. And if you recognise the shape and that's the style you require, then you just need to let us know. But they do cover majority of styles there. The in situ designs are slightly different, and the harnesses options there and some of the specials there. So it's if you want one of those styles, then that's what you tick, and we work towards them and tailor it accordingly. This section 12 is all about mix and matching, which we talked about earlier briefly, adding on or increasing widths if we need to. So it's helpful for our design team then to use that, often used for alterations and things like that, and just tweaking. So, or they've got a standard small and they want extra length or width. So this is quite useful if we need to use this, just to slightly tweak a style. And then the next page is the additional notes, anything extra that's helpful, and the measuring. So as we sort of briefly touched on that, Alice will do this for you. She will explain where to measure. Some of it looks complicated, but basically we will work down the body with the skeleton on the left. You can see going around the body from the shoulders, working down and down and down. And then if we've got someone on the bed, we put them on their side and do their lengths. So measuring from top and working down the sections of the body, around the bottom. So important to have the leg bent in a sort of recovery type position to ensure that we do get the fullness of the body there, their bottom, so that it's the right length of leg paddle. So although it looks to be a lot, it doesn't follow, it follows. And this form then, we can use it for everything, every possible complex scenario. The amputee section is a little bit extra at the bottom. So as we said, just a few extra measurements for amputees. All of those measurements would include every style we do. Thanks, Alice, because you want to come back to me. So although it sometimes looks complicated, we've tried to give you as much information as we can. All I can say is that there's just not one style that fits all. So you just need to be mindful of that, and that styles do vary. So they vary in their tailoring and the support that it gives. So you just need to double check the sizing guides. If in doubt, please contact us. We will help you. And if you can take a couple of measurements, we can help size or suggest a size for you. Don't be too generous if you think, oh, I need to allow for growth for youngsters. You know, you're going to then provide a sling that they could possibly slip through, because the aperture then will be wide. So, you know, it's hard to do that, but you just need to talk to us. Certain styles that are easier to do that because the aperture is perhaps fuller here and less likely to slip through. But you know, please use the guides. If you have any other requests you think would be helpful, we can then add that information. So please feed back some suggestions.